Hello, screenwriters, and whoever else would be interested in watching, I guess, people who like to sit and watch someone sit at a desk and type. Welcome to the live Ask Me Almost Anything and Writing in Public series from Writing for Screens. That is me, Glenn Gers, here to work through writing a pilot script so that you can see the process and at the same time being available every day, weekdays, except if I can't do it, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am here for your questions. If you want to ask them, you can just put them right there in the chat, except nobody's watching right now. So if you're watching this on YouTube some other time and you cannot type into the chat, feel free to contact me at writingforscreens.com. The Contact Me tab is all over the place on just about every page, and if you use it, you can send me a message with the question and I will answer it here, or type it into the comments on this video. I get it that way too. I am massively connected to this project. You can reach me so many ways. All right, let's get to it. Enough talking nonsense. It is time to work. What we are doing is we are working on the pilot script for the currently untitled Podcaster Killer project. And we yesterday I decided, you watched me, that the basic story is about Hugo, a forcibly retired by technology journalist who has infiltrated a group of web sleuths in order to critique online culture. And he meets and falls in love with the ex-wife, Madeline, of a murdered podcaster who is now the subject of a web sleuth style investigation. That is the story. And now we need to know more about Hugo because we took a big leap with Madeline last time. She became the person who was in love with the podcaster, married them, and they apparently changed. Have to figure that out. So who is Hugo? Who is this guy? Now, the first thing about Hugo is I am getting more and more fed up with his name. So maybe let's try some alternates. Daniel, Norman. I seem to be going for 2-syllable names. One of the things you should take seriously is your own impulses, because really, why the hell not? What else do you have to go on? I somehow feel like this guy should have a name with 2 syllables. You know, he's going to end up being Sam or something. But at the moment, Norman is sounding right. I shouldn't judge a name, but it sounds like a name that would make someone cranky. And I'm making him Norman for now. This will continue to change, by the way. If experience tells us anything, stuff like this, something eventually clicks, something eventually sticks, but right now we are just trying stuff out. Norman is the man's name. Now, the thing is, Norman used to be a journalist. He's in his 40s or 50s. He started out when journalism was still a print and broadcast thing, and in the 21st century, he has lost everything. And so he has decided to write a book critiquing contemporary culture. So what I got from that is, A, this guy probably has not had a lot of good relationships. He is difficult. He has had a series of bad romantic relationships. In fact, he has never had a good relationship. That's the key. I want this to be a story about someone who has their first good relationship. That is the true love story that I've came up with this morning. Um, I think the question is he the cliche multiply divorced workaholic? Multiply divorced or someone who's had like never been married because they have stories, never been married and has stories of epically bad relationships to the point, and I think we all know people like this, where you say there has to be, you have to have some part in this. If only choosing badly, there is no way that you can have just catastrophe after catastrophe by chance. You are not Job. Um, and so I think that's the guy that's starting to get into my head. By the way, I just changed his name to Norman, so now we have to do a search and replace for Hugo. Um, Find and replace, but I don't see the replace. Find and replace. There we go. Norman. Replace all. Pow. You know, back when Norman started, that would have been a lot more work. I love technology. All right. So Norman, the thing that I also thought about Norman is this guy decided to deal with the fact that he could not adapt to changing times by criticizing changing times. I have to write that down. That was a good line. He dealt, not dealt, with the fact that he couldn't adapt to changing times by writing a big book critiquing changing times. I think that says a lot about him. By the way, if you get a chance out there, whoever watches this, listen to this. Listen to the last episode. I put a pad under the keyboard in an attempt to lower the keyboard noise because the keyboard is right next to the microphone. And so let me know if there's a difference because I can't tell. Actually, talk about not adapting to changing times. I can just watch the videos and tell. Forget it. Go back to what you were doing. All right. So a guy who decides to write an epic critique of changing times, he thinks of himself, and quite possibly is, the smartest guy in the room. Actually, partly I'm thinking about, there have been a lot of books like this. I'm actually reading one. It's actually excellent, called Evil Geniuses by Kurt Anderson. I'm just going to make a note. That's the type of book. It is a sweeping analysis, quite intelligent, of why the world went to hell since the 1970s. That's what Norman is working on. Now, this guy, therefore, knows he is the smartest guy in the room. And that is why we don't like him. That is why we are going to see him change. He is going to recognize that being the smartest guy in the room is not always the best thing. It may not be the defense against all problems. And so that means, if you think about it, that what we're heading towards, what he needs to get to, is simplicity and honesty and not overthinking things and not trying to keep a distance. So his big moment, his ending in a sense, not the actual ending, but the thing that ends his story of change is honesty, trust, and emotional openness. That is a thing. And this brings up a really, really important thing to keep in mind. And that is the 6 questions. I try to work all the time asking myself this. Who is it about? Trash trucks again. I apologize. Who is it about? What do they want? Why can't they get it? What do they do about that? Why doesn't that work? And how does it end? These 6 questions are sort of my safety net. These are my guardrails that keep me on a story. Here's how it works for me. Uh, Partly, that's how you look at the whole story. You say, who's it about? What do they want? In this case, it's about Norman and Madeline, and that they want, once the story really gets going, to find the killer. That is what they want. What they also want is to get the other one to be in love with them. But then, as well as using these 6 questions to just figure out the whole story, you also can look at each character as what do they want and what's in the way for them. What Hugo wants is love and respect. And what's getting in the way is he's a jerk. He's the smartest guy in the room, and that's all he knows how to do. And so what he's going to try? He's going to try to do different things to overcome that. One of the things I think smartest guys in the room often do is try and enlist the person that they are enamored of into either co-smarting, being as smart and therefore joining into a little club of critical smartness, or they try to get someone to admire and respect their smartness as if that will save them. It doesn't. I'm beginning to get a sense of Norman. This is who Norman is. And then that's a good question. That's one we haven't gotten to. Yeah, I think that he should learn not to be so damn smart. Now here's a really good question. How does he meet her? This is actually kind of an outline question. How does Hugo meet Madeline? Which is part of Hugo Meets Madeline. And the big question is, how does he meet her? Because the story now is Madeline, when her ex-husband is murdered, his stuff becomes her responsibility, because that was the last state his estate was in. She's his nearest relative, even as his ex. I'm gonna have to find out the legality of that, but what the hell? It's just a movie. I'm gonna make up that his will left her in charge, so she gets his files, and those files are crucial to the investigation of the murder by these amateur detectives. So they go to her. She can't stand them. She regrets that her ex became one of them. And comedy and drama will ensue from that conflict. So the question then is, how does Hugo actually meet her? Because if this is a group of people who are all in different places and communicating, by Zoom and bulletin board, he's not going to go pick up the box unless the boxes of files, unless perhaps he's the nearest one. Is there a way? Let's try and get that. Perhaps he is near her and gets coerced to go pick up the stuff. Or maybe in being asked, he sees a picture of her or some other evidence of her personality, as in a letter or something, or an answering machine message. Somehow or other, he's got to say, I'm interested in her. I want to meet this person. That's possible. So he agrees to go. That's possible. That's possible, but that is not the correct font. That is a big event line. And this is actually the details of the event. When I outline, I try to break each scene into its own section. I give the seen a headline that says this is the thing it's about. Not necessarily where it takes place or what happens, but what is the essential dramatic action. And the essential dramatic action that gets this story going, in one sense, is he falls in love with her. I have somehow walked myself into knowing that this story has to be operating according to he falls in love with her first. She is distracted by the fact that she can't stand all these people doing this web sleuthing, so it's going to take her a while to fall for him. Plus, he's annoying. All right, L. We are starting to know stuff about them. So now, one of the other big questions that I have to get to is, as always, as again and again, who is it about? What do they want? Okay, I now know that it's about Norman and Madeline. And really the most important question that you work backwards from is, how does it end? How does it end tells you where you want to end up, and therefore you work backwards to what's the opposite of that. If I want to end up with them together, you want to start with them not together. If you want to end up with them having changed, you need to start with them in the thing that is not that changed self. So the other thing that you need to know in the what is the end is, if this is a story about hunting and finding the killer, which they are sort of forced to do by the fact that the killer is after them. That's an important point. They are trying to find the killer because, let's capitalize that, because the killer is after them. This is important. They are in a group. The group pokes the tiger, stirs the hornet's nest, and gets the killer mad at them. And now, whether or not they wanted to, they've got to find the killer because the killer will otherwise kill them. This is a central concept of this plot. This goes right in the old overview. All right. They're trying to find the killer because the killer is after them. Damn right. That's good. That is a story. There's something at stake, not being killed. You will often get asked when you are working in the business, what are the stakes? Not being killed is a great stakes because we all can relate. It's a relatable state of plot device. All right, so that's good. That is good stuff there. One of the things I'm going to do this over the weekend, I think, is clean up this document and post it. Every week, I'm going to post the documents that we're working on in their current state, because I know you can't see them. I'll be scrolling and you'll be like, wait, what did that say? And the answer is, you can go to writingforscreens.com. There will be, let me see, I'll do it another time. I will set up a part under the creative tab where I put work I have done that I think if you want to read it, it's there. There will be the first box on that in that grid will under creative will be the latest documents. Oh gosh, I'm just getting so professional with this whole thing. I'm serving the public. All right, you know what? I think we're good. We got a lot of stuff done. We got Hugo to be Norman. How great is that? That is the sort of thing you say, I'm going to stop and relish my achievements. Okay. Very good. I hope you're interested and enjoying this. I hope you will ask me questions in the comments or at writingforscreens.com. In the meantime, have a fabulous weekend. I will see you Monday with more developments of this pilot.